Hello, everyone, and welcome to another session of Academic Research Logs. Today, I've got Juliet here with me, and we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic that I think I've got a lot of questions about. And this is a terrain that I'm not 100% familiar with as well, because I'm not within that context. But I've got an expert in the field here with me, and she's here to really dissect the topic with us and just give us tips about all of these areas that we're quite uncertain about and territory that we're unsure about. So, Juliet, I'm really excited you're here. And it is a privilege to have you on this channel to talk about grants, the big world of grants. Even just talking about it freaks me out. Grant. So can you maybe just start by giving us a bit of a background about who you are and what you do and what your role is?
Thank you, Tommy.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so hello everyone. My name is Juliet Inyang. I'm Nigerian. Yeah, probably Nigerian. Okay. I'm a researcher. I'm also a marketing consultant, and I'm currently a PhD student at the University of Auckland in New Zealand. Yeah. So I'm the founder of Academic Hive for African Scholars. Yeah, a research organization that is just committed to improving the capacity of young, new, and early career researchers, people who are just coming into the field. So we provide guidance, we provide opportunities, information, things that would help them to excel or like to have a smooth start in the course of their research career. Yeah, so that's pretty much about Juliet Inyang. I think I'll stop there for now.
Thank you so much for that. And I think you are doing such an important role, especially in an area where there's a lot of uncertainty, especially when you're new and you're upcoming. There's a lot of things in that time that you just need that guidance with, and you're doing such an important work. But today, I think I want to start by asking if you can please maybe describe the grant opportunities that are available to Africans generally, because I think a lot of the time the question that I hear is, where are the grants? You know, they're not there, there's nothing. But I think sometimes it's a lack of information. Do you agree with me? Yeah, so maybe if you can start by describing that, that would be good. Thank you.
Definitely. Look, the world is interested in Africa. That's the world is interested in Africa. So yes, and that's because there's so much work to be done in Africa. Lots of organizations, a lot of institutions, a lot of governments are investing in Africa. Yeah. Well, many of the time it could be for I don't want to say selfish gains, right? Yeah, but
you have to give and take, honestly, to be honest, you know, what's in it for me sometimes.
Yes. So the point is, there are actually opportunities, a whole lot of them, that are available to Africans. Yes. Not just in one sector, because another misconception that people have is that grants is just available for people maybe in the health or the sciences. No, just in one sector.
Okay.
There are a lot of opportunities available to Africans across a wide range of sectors. This can be education, entrepreneurship, health, agri, I mean, name it, right? For instance, there's the African Union Research Grant. So this grant is basically aimed at promoting research and innovation in various fields, right? It's open to African scholars in African universities and research institutions. So if you're a scholar in an African university, then you should look out for the African Union Research Grant. To have the popular one now that almost everyone in Nigeria or Africa at least know about, the Tony Elumelu Foundation.
Okay, it's a good one.
That's for entrepreneurs, right? So that is a grant, right? That program is designed to provide financial support to young African entrepreneurs. Yeah, so they offer seed capital, mentorship, training. You don't have to pay back. You don't have to pay it back, right? And this is designed for Africans, those who are looking forward to going into the course of entrepreneurship.
Okay.
We have the MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program. We have USAID grant, right? We have Agri-Tech Challenge. I think the Agri-Tech Challenge is an opportunity for African entrepreneurs who are in the agri sector.
Okay.
The same thing, similar thing that Tony Elumelu program does is basically what the African and the Agri-Tech Challenge grant is also about. And then we have grants for women, African women. So it's African Women Development Grants.
Okay.
Yeah, I think African Women Development Fund grants, something like that. So that's designed for women-led organization. Okay. That grant is aimed at encouraging gender equality and empowering women, right? Yeah. So it provides funding for capacity building, it provides funding for advocacy, it provides funding for research, but things that are led by women.
Okay. Yeah.
And then there's the Google, I think Google have one, again, for Africans too. Okay. Google Africa Development Scholarship. Yeah. So, I mean, if I did that just a few, there are lots out there for Africans. Like I said, the world is interested in Africa. So, so many people so many organizations, many governments are coming up with initiatives, coming up with grants to just see how Africans how they can, let's say, invest in Africa.
That's good to hear. But I think one thing that I also wanted to say is because sometimes it's the navigating to get to those grants that can be an issue. And I think what you've done so beautifully well is now you've got a place, almost like a hub, a hive, you call it, where you've been able to put all of this grant into it. And if people need information, I want you to talk about that a little bit. Where can we go? Because sometimes I think it can be daunting, the process of finding. And I think that's where you come in. Can you maybe tell us where to go in terms of, okay, you're looking for grant, there's a place where it's almost like a one-stop shop, if you like. Can you maybe elaborate on that a little bit?
Okay, yeah. So the internet is actually a very good platform for that. If you're looking for any grant, you can just go to Google and just say, maybe grant for, and then you write what you have in mind.
Okay.
Something will come up. Yeah, something will come up.
Yeah.
But then, like I mentioned at the start, I'm the co-founder of Academic Hive for African Scholars.
Yes.
And we are committed to building the capacity for early career researchers. Now, Academic Hive has a website where we make it a point of duty to put up opportunities regularly for people. And one of those opportunities are grants. So if you go to academichive.com, you will see, just scroll down, you will see different sections. You see scholarships, see awards, you see resources, you see grants. So once you click on grants, you see a lot of grants, and it's updated daily. Every day we put up new grant opportunities out there so that people can take advantage of this.
That's good. Thank you so much.
There are other websites as well. I mean, there are a lot of them. Like I said, if you go to the internet, just put in what you have in mind, and you'll see a lot of websites. There are websites dedicated to grants. Yeah, and apart from websites too, I think you can even find grant opportunities, say from funding databases of organization.
Okay.
Yeah, your school, for example, those of if the researcher maybe is a university institution, right? That university institution can have an office that is dedicated to just providing grants or sourcing for grants. Yes.
Yeah.
You can reach out to the office and say, hey, I'm interested in this, or this is my research, right? Are there opportunities, are there grants I can apply for? You'll be surprised that something is there just lying on the table for you to pick up.
You just have to ask. I think isn't it just ask for that support sometimes. Just say, this is what I'm doing. What can I do? Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's good. And also, I think now I want you maybe to expound on a little bit. What are some of the things that you think are important when you're writing grants? So, for example, I've got this grant and I want to start writing. What are some of the things that you think are important to have a successful grant?
Okay. The very first thing to do when you want to approach a grant or you want to start applying for a grant is to understand the requirements of that grant.
Okay, good.
Almost every grant has requirements. They have expectations. They have eligibility. You need to before you just see, it's not just to see a grant. Say, for example, maybe I just see Google for Africans grant, right? And then I say, okay, okay, Google is giving out grants to Africa, and then I just carry up my laptop, I start applying. No, it doesn't work that way. What if the grant is for maybe tech people in Africa, or the grant is for a particular kind of, people in Africa? I need to understand the requirement of that grant. I need to be sure that I am eligible for the grant. I need to be sure that I have the potential. I need to be sure that I understand the objective. What's the objective of that grant? Where is it actually heading to?
Okay.
Yeah. So once you're able to understand that, right, you then go on to, develop like a clear and concise project plan. Like, you need to know exactly, what am I applying? Like, yes, so I've understood this requirement of this grant. Now, what do I want to apply for?
Okay.
While you're writing your proposal now, you need to be very clear. Let someone be able to see, maybe like from your executive summary, they're able to just understand what you want to do. Keep it free of jargon, write with clarity.
Okay.
And then focus on the impact. Another thing that increases your chance of success, or increases one's chance of success when applying for grants, is focus on the impact. Let it not be about you. Let it not be about you.
Okay.
Focus on the impact. For example, if you're applying for this grant, you say, okay, this grant is going to help you to reach out to so number of people. As much as possible, if you can use metrics, quantifiable metrics for them, that'll be fine. If not, let people see that you're applying for that grant because it's not just about you. You want to impact maybe a community or a group of people, or you want to come up with some sort of proposed solution that would benefit a specific target audience. Those are things that you need to show in your grant application for you to stand out from others. Yeah, so that the funder is not reading it and thinking that, oh, this person just wants to have some money in his or her pocket, right? So that's pretty much it. And then when you have written the grant, you write, like, have a realistic budget, something that accurately reflects the cost of the project. Because grant has to do with money, so you're asking for money.
Yes, that's
true. So you need to have a realistic budget, include all the expenses under their specific headings, like personnel, supplies, overhead costs. Let someone see these things clearly. And then give this grant application to someone, to an expert, to a third eye, to review and edit. Because sometimes you're writing something, you will not see the error, but someone else who is reading it is going to see it. Yeah. So that's also another thing that one has to do. You have to make sure that it's proofread for grammar, it's proofread for spelling errors, it's clear, it's coherent. Yeah. So that it comes out beautiful and professional. Yeah. And that's also something, that's a service that Academic Hive also offers too. We help to review grant applications or any other application, so that people are applying for several opportunities that are research or academic related. Yeah.
I think we definitely will provide the link as well, so that people can also have access, because I think that's one of the issues. Sometimes people don't know where it is, and it's there, but sometimes people are just not aware. So I think with that link, hopefully they'll be able to click on and then just see what the services are. I also wanted to, as you were talking, I was thinking to myself, so when you're writing the grant, you said something about making sure that you highlight the impact that the grant is going to make. So I wonder, do you think the chances of success is more dependent on not just the problem that you want to solve, isn't it, but more on the solutions that you're going to provide? Is that if I get you right, are you more highly likely to be successful if you're looking at providing solutions? Is that what you're saying?
Of course, why not? Yes, in clear terms, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And that's because anybody can identify problems. Okay. The world knows that there's a lot of problems.
There's a lot of, we know they're there.
No, we know there's hunger problem. We know there's transportation problem. We know that. Anybody can see the problem, but when you apply for grants, you apply for money because you want to attempt a solution.
Okay.
Yeah. It may not be a solution that will completely solve the problem.
Yes.
We're going to address it to some extent.
At least, okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that. That's good. And so I wanted to also, I think you've sort of spoken really quickly for us about what makes a grant successful? You've talked about all of that, but what are some of the common barriers and pitfalls that you've seen when it comes to people who are applying? So maybe a grant comes into Academic Hives, and then you look at it and you go, my God, we've seen this a million times. It's not going to work. What are some of those things that you've seen over and over again, and you just want people to be aware of?
Okay. Well, people should be aware that, number one, you're not the only person applying for that grant.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of competition.
Mm-hmm.
The funding is limited.
Okay.
The funding agency or the funder doesn't have money to satisfy everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So one of the barriers to a successful grant proposal is not because your proposal is bad, not necessarily, no.
Okay.
You may have a really good proposal, but because the competition is fierce, right? It can be fierce. There may be other worthy projects that are vying for that same fund. Yeah, so this kind of restricts the funding availability. Okay. Right? Yeah, that's one thing. So you don't have to feel bad when you don't get that grant. Use that same application, apply, look for something else that is going to work, right? Apply to something else. I mean, it does not mean that because this organization or this funding body rejected your grant, that was naturally bad. No. It could be that they don't have the capacity to accommodate everyone. And unfortunately, you fell in the pool of grants that couldn't be accommodated at the time. Sometimes you even see that people apply to a grant now, they're not taken. The next year they apply that same time they're taken. It happens. Interesting. Yeah. So another thing that kind of impacts on the success of your grant application is lack of alignment with the goal of the grant or the objective of the grant. Okay. So that's why I said again from the beginning that you have to look at the requirement, you have to look at the objective of the grant. If your proposal, no matter how wonderful it is, if it doesn't align with the objective of that grant, then it's as good as wasting your time. Okay. Yes. And poorly defined projects, maybe your project plan is not clear. Yeah. The objectives are not measurable. The timelines are really looking so unrealistic. Okay. Yeah. So these are possible problems that funders look at and say, yeah, I don't think this is feasible, right? Yeah. And then some grants require you to show some level of evidence. Okay. And what do you mean by evidence then? Like data. For example, if you're maybe addressing something in education, okay, maybe education for children, and then you're applying to a grant that is being offered to researchers who are working on maybe digital literacy for kids or something, right? And then you want to say that, or you're making a claim that maybe 50% of people in social community do not have access to education. They want to see that data. They want to see that strong evidence. You should be able to show that actually this is true. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So funders want to see that there is there's evidence, there's data to demonstrate the need for that solution that you want to provide. And that way it gives them the mindset that they are able to, that's your solution, right? It's going to create some level of impact. Yeah. And I think from my experience so far, what I've found is, like you were saying, that we all know the problem is there, but I'm finding some grants are more towards intervention grants. So you might almost have to even do the research with maybe lack of funding, but when you now have the results, I mean, sometimes that's what I'm finding. When you now find the result, they say, okay, look, what do you need money for? Okay, this is the result I found. I want to implement some things. Exactly. So again, exactly. I find that do you think there's a lot more grant on implementation for Africa, or have you found that there's balance of both? Because that's what I sort of found so far. Well, people like to give money to what exists. Okay. Yeah. So even if apart from research, right? Because I used to be the executive director for a nonprofit too. Yeah, for about 2 years. Okay. And we applied for certain grants as well during my time there. I also noticed that some of those serious grants we applied to required some level of work. Like they went beyond just ideas.
Okay.
Went beyond just ideas. They said, okay, are there, evidence you can show or something? How far have you gone on this? Yeah. So when you're able to show that you've done up to this point, and then you need money from this point to this point, the grant was more likely to be successful than if you were just providing an idea-based grant. Nobody is saying that there are no grants, no funding agencies that give money for ideas. There are.
Yeah.
But it makes more sense. Someone who is coming with some level of evidence that, oh, I've done some research already, even if it's not the full thing. Someone who is just coming with fresh idea, they would likely take the person who has something on ground already. Yeah.
So I think there's still a lot more work to be done as well. People need to realize that it's not just going with just the ideas are good, but you need to have some sort of evidence as well to back up those ideas, isn't it? Okay, yeah, that's very good. Thank you so much. I think really that's some of the things that I wanted to talk about today, because I felt as if generally within the African context, we tend to say, oh, I've spoken to a few people who always say, where are the grants? There's no grant for us. I've been struggling. I do my research with my money. It's hard. It's difficult. And then it just got me thinking, really, what's going on here? How can we make it better? But I think finishing off, I wanted to also ask you, what advice do you have for early career researchers and people who are new and just trying to find their fit in what might seem like an uncertain area? What would you tell them?
Okay, so I'm gonna say, number one, identify potential funding sources.
Okay.
So look for grant opportunities from organizations that have history of funding projects in your field, in your area, or in your interest. This can be foundations, this can be government agencies, this can be international organizations. So just try to identify them. Make use of the internet. The internet is there. So when somebody just tells me, I'm looking for grants, I cannot find any grants, and then I ask the person, okay, what are you working on at the time? I just tell the person, okay, so just put here grants for research.
Okay.
Things will come up. The internet is there. Let's make use of it.
Absolutely.
Well, I think one deficiency I've seen among many African researchers is they just like to be handed things. Yeah, they don't like people to hand things to them. Yes, it's the one that you bring to their doorstep that they rush. Meanwhile, there are things lying down there. Just go and dig for it. Gold is not on the surface of the earth. You have to dig for gold. You have to dig for it. If you need it, dig for it. That's it. So secondly, develop a strong proposal. Yeah, for those who are new, it might be challenging to say, is my proposal strong enough? Well, what do I mean by strong proposal? I'm not saying go and bring a proposal that shows that you want to do some kind of Albert Einstein research or no. So your proposal should be something that is clear, concise, well-structured. Someone should be able to read your proposal and understand the problem you want to address. They should be able to understand the objective clearly, very clear. It could be a very simple solution, but it's clear. The impact is clear. The budget is detailed. The timeline is clear, Well, it's a simple, someone looks at the idea and it's looking like a really simple idea, but so you pick it up, it's clear, it has the necessary content that a grant should have. That's something too, that you should do if you're a new and early career researcher. Don't start thinking of which big idea should I work on.
Okay.
Look for that small thing that you can do, but present it excellently. Collaborate with others.
Okay.
Yeah. Collaborate with others. So there are other researchers who may be doing something similar to what you're doing too. It's nice to collaborate with them. Let the funding agency see that you're working with a team, that you have that collaboration skill. So it increases the chances of your success too. So seek out potential partners, seek out collaborators who share your interest or your goal, and then build your skill. So it's one thing to also say, oh, this is what I want to solve, or this is what I feel is going to solve this problem or that problem. And then they go back to research on you, and you don't have even one of the skills that are necessary for that. So the funder begins to be skeptical about you. Are you sure you'll be able to deliver on this? So build your skill. In the process of writing grant, also be building up your skills.
So sorry to interrupt. What sort of skills in particular would you say? Is it just some soft skills? What sort of skills are you referring to there?
And it can be soft skills, it can be digital skills, it can be skills that are necessary for the grants, for that field that you want to apply to. So let me give you a practical example. Just lately, I think the last grant I won was from the SIX, that's Summer Institute in Computational Social Sciences, right? So I did not study computer science. No, I studied marketing in school, BSc marketing, MSc marketing, PhD marketing. So I am not from a computer-based background, right?
Yeah.
But this Summer Institute grant was designed to kind of bring a collaboration between the social sciences and computational science, like people in the computer field and people in the social science field. Like trying to see how computational science can help to solve social problems.
Wow.
So for me, I am coming from the social science part. I never studied anything computer.
Yes.
What did I do? For that grant, I think one thing that even took me, one thing that gave me the edge was, I let them know that I have a community of researchers that I was grooming at the time. Yeah. And then it would be nice to see how these researchers also try to collaborate or try to use digital techniques to solve problems in their society. And then I also demonstrated to them that I had taken a step further to try to understand a little bit of the computational subject, like R. So I started learning R, not using it for programming, or I just R for statistics. R for data analysis. That was just it, because I used to use SPSS before and all that, but this was R for data analysis that I decided to use. So I put that up there to say, okay, yeah, that I'd even started, working with R, and then I provided an evidence. There was a research paper I did. I had someone, one of the co-author of that paper, was also from the computer science field too, right? He was the one that analyzed the data. But then you can see that, I have my certificate to show that, okay, I started learning R, and then I had a paper which I was the lead author to, showing that I'd used R. So that was like some evidence to show. And I got the grants.
I like that. That's a very good practical example right there. It's just, and even though sometimes people might look at it, but this is not for me. But because you were able to collaborate, interprofessional collaboration is in it, and work with what you have and what they have, you were still able to get the grant and worked well. So thank you so much. I think it requires that creativity as well, and that little bit of, thinking outside the box, persistence.
Because grant applications are time consuming.
They are.
Yeah. So even if you get rejected, use that feedback to improve on your proposal and use it again and apply for another grant. Seek help. Ask people to help you. Just seek help throughout the grant process, not asking people to help you write it.
Right.
That's also what I've observed. Write for me. As a grant applied to, how much will you take to write for me? No, but rather seek help. Oh, what do you think of this grant? I have this skill, I have that skill. Do you think I stand a chance? Let the person look at it and say, okay, yeah, you do. Why don't you add this or why don't you add that? That makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
And say, write for me. No. So keep learning, keep growing, stay up to date with what is happening in your field, and build your skill, build your experience. And this will help you develop stronger proposal, and you will build a successful research career from it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Juliet. And I really appreciate you sparing out of your busy schedule just to come talk to us about this. Thank you so much. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
That's fine. Thank you, Tommy. And thanks for the opportunity as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.